Indeed. We'll see. We'll see. I think it's going to be really tough for them, right? I think since becoming, ex-ENEIDA, and obviously they've gone through a little bit of a difficult time, maybe the past year and a half. As EC Kiev is kind of the big one. That was their longest running org. They were in ICLA, and then ICLA had a little bit of a rebrand. Then it was ex-ICLA, then ENEIDA, then ex-ENEIDA. So it was all a little messy in places. So we'll see how that affects the energy here, but getting through into these qualifiers, proving that they can still match off against some of the best in Tier 2 is a really solid look for them. We are, of course, into the game. If maybe, you were on your other tab or something like that, just waiting for us to say. Nonetheless, Movistar Koi starting off on this T side. They've got plenty of utility here to work with.
Yeah, and we found the car to start game button, so don't worry, we've got you. Stadodo. And yeah, you're absolutely right. He's actually the man with a full belt. Been dropped that over, of course. Molotov and a couple of flashes still available. And it's Pol Bandana from the back of the site on A. And that Molotov, unfortunately, is going to force him into the open. I think he'd be delighted with the fact he still gets one from that. Courier is trying to play with the angle. He's got Kinzizor's support. But Davy removes him. The leader trying to lead by example straight away. Munch already deleted as well by Davy. S4 does charge through from camera and at least remove him, but it's a 2v3 and Buria has a kit. That's the only silver lining.
Yeah, we'll see here. Pistols can obviously swing fast, and with Saltovsky hitting a clean one like that, it might just come true. We'll see. Mopoz with the armor going to have to be the big man here, tanking a lot of shots thus far. Not a lot of time left on that bomb, just trying to play around it, really. Mopoz will eventually go down. Such a hard angle to fight from. Stadodo, though, finding the head of the first. Can't quite get the second. And, yeah, I think he was banking on the fact that he didn't have a kit for that repeat. Little does he know, kit's in action. And it will indeed be ex-ENEIDA finding it.
Yeah, I can't see the kit on the hip from there, really, can Stadodo. So that is a lovely retake for ex-ENEIDA. And, of course, CT side, it's important to get off to a good start on Anubis. We all know, everyone around the scene complains about how T-sided this map can be. It's got its place in the pool now, though. I feel like it's definitely solidified, but you know what side is favourable. So bomb plant, 4 Galils and a Mac 10. I see these rounds won way too often. Almost feels like these T-side buys after the bomb plant on the pistol are more successful than the CT buys nearly all the time. I don't know. It just feels like CT's always struggle to beat these Galils on round 2. Let's see if that pattern stays intact.
Yeah, well, I think since we had the econ changes, years ago now, teams have been really, really looking for a way to make these force buys work. In the past, when you could reset the economy and all that good stuff quite consistently, I think everyone was like, okay, force buys, we'll see how they go. It's more of an individual, flying in, can I get some crazy deagle headshots? But since the power of the reset has, let's say, been nullified a bit more, therefore making them more important, I think that the mind gaming, the theory crafting around how to make these force buys work has potentially been perfected. But we'll see here in this round. Saltovsky going to open up. Quick trade back from the T side. They weren't expecting the third, but they still managed to win that fight. Pol Bandana, his position was slightly known. He's a little unlucky as he does so much damage. But 2 coming in from A main incredibly quickly. I don't know that this will necessarily be expected, so certainly curious here. The nade, yep, finishes off 1, and we're immediately even. So Stadodo on 11 HP. You've got to watch him now. I would imagine Just is going to have to do a lot of the work. No kit available right now for the CT side. That's one of the big things. But if the heads roll fast, it does not matter. All down to Just. And he will be deleted. Okay, ex-ENEIDA certainly coming in warm.
Yeah, and Kenzizor was able to find that kit that Buria, of course, had from the pistol as well. So, yeah, very nice. Easy defuse. And in the end, double flank. Coming through that A-main position, like you mentioned, is really what won them that retake. Movistar Koi were set up differently for that, and in the end, the damage done by Pol Bandana's FAMAS on the site. So much damage to 2 separate players, even though he didn't take either of them. He contributed. Made it a lot easier for ex-ENEIDA to take that one, and take it nicely as well. But of course, with another bomb plant, another buy can come in. 2 in a row. 2 Mac 10s, 2 Galils, and an AK. Davy on that AK. And of course, ex-ENEIDA might not know exactly what kind of buy they're going up against at this stage of the game. Sometimes it can be just a half buy in this instance. Sometimes it can be the full force again. So they do need to be careful. And of course, we've got that recovered Galil. S4. Saltovsky's on that FAMAS now. And 3 M4s available. So 1 minute 20. Movistar Koi only a few taps from Canal. And they'll make their decision. They've got plenty of utility to work with, so they can certainly make something happen here.
Yeah, it is definitely possible. Kenzazor holding in towards Dot. It's actually 2 of them on the CT side looking at Dark. Pretty heavy A-lean thus far from ex-ENEIDA, and it's not something that Movistar Koi have yet tapped into. This mid-control, the potential of getting in behind, etc., can be very, very dangerous indeed. But it looks like they want to crunch onto A here, Trav.
Buria playing close. Tough angle to clear out, especially when you've got the back 10s. They, of course, will be heard. Oh, the boost, though. That's beautiful. Above that camera smoke, of course, the stairs go down, so you can see above it. And that shot from Anubis just compounds the problems for Saltovsky. I think they might be calling a save this time around. This one is too far gone.
Yep. It's fair enough. Movistar Koi, you know, prodding and poking that A bomb site. And as said, an A lean, but then they sacrificed mid-control for it and never really retook it. So very little information in terms of the fact that the A side of things was pretty vulnerable. Because, yeah, it gets a bit funky. They played 3 on the site. Then Saltovsky dropped back. So it's like, you've not got mid-control. He's just holding CT, which is not really that common of an area anyway, unless he's sending like one guy in for a bit of a desperate flank. So then your A-bomb site that was once strong is no longer strong, and you've given up mid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you just really have sacrificed a bit too much there in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that boost, though, of course, above camera. When you take sort of slow mid-control like that, sort of mid to late round, ex-ENEIDA weren't willing to reface it dry. It's quite a hard position to retake. His flashes are kind of difficult to put into play. Double swinging, of course, from those angles. You can kind of get stacked on top of each other and it feel a bit uncomfortable. So yeah, the boost from Movistar Koi above that camera smoke was a lovely idea and it works out nicely. Straight up gunfight early round this time for Koi, and they're going to do a lot of damage to Kenzazor. First time they've really focused their attention toward B, and Kenzazor can't get away from the utility after being tagged down so low. Molotovs and nades coming his way, making it impossible for him, sadly. So an opening pick for Stadodo.
Yeah, not a bad look to kick us off. Definitely what they wanted on the Movistar Koi side of things. Get this clean follow-up. ex-ENEIDA, though. R&D getting proactive, moving forwards here in towards the middle area, hoping, I would imagine, for a bit of a fight to try and trade things back, but do have to be careful. Double-edged sword here. If they go down, it's a lot of damage from Saltovsky. I mean, look at the HP bars. Not a single full one for that T side. Well-placed spray down could make all of the difference here. Mopos takes the fight and, wow, demolishes Burya. That should, you would think, give them the round, especially with a nice deep push here from just in towards B to confirm that it is empty. So, second round for Movistar Koi. Within grasp. Bar anything mental.
Yeah.
They're just not ready for just to be in that deep.
Unfortunate for Munch. Gets removed. And now pull down. Bandetta's trying his best to save, but Just will remove him as well. And Just is an interesting one, right? I mean, when I saw that he made that move from Saw after spending 4 years on that team, it's actually not something that I thought would come to success for Movistar Koi, but I've been proved very wrong. They've stepped back up once again, despite losing some of their best players, of course, over the years. Lost their leader, Alex, to NIP. Not that that worked for NIP, but nothing works for NIP, really. So, so yeah, I thought it would be a bit of a struggle for them, but he's sort of given the team a bit of extra experience after losing Alex, and it's worked pretty well.
Yeah, I suppose so. I suppose so. You know, answered the call pretty well. Maybe a different style of doing it. I mean, Alex was also a pretty good fragger for this team, you know,
was.
and I don't know that that's something that they necessarily want him to be doing on NIP, but as you said, not much is going well for that team at the moment, given the caliber of the players. It has been a downward trajectory for a good couple of years now, and I suppose it is troughed. I was going to say peaked, but that wouldn't quite make sense. It's at its worst. I think.
It's at its worst. Yeah, it couldn't be. I think, pretty sure they're dropping out. I checked this the other day for one of my, you know, dumb stat tweets. I'm pretty sure that, of course, with them dropping 3 players in IP, they drop out of the HLTV top 30 for the first time since the rankings were even introduced back in 2015. So that is a long time, and that, of course, dates back to that famous loss against Vega Squadron too. So even nightmares like that didn't drop them outside the top 30 of the rankings, but they are now, I believe. So yeah, it's a shame. This would be a nice bonus cash for Pole Bandana, and they're going to make it work. I mean, it's still a 2 versus 2 here, but obviously they're too far away from the bomb site to do anything about it. So just an upgrade from the Mac 10. Mopos trying to remove them, and he'll do a good job on the first. Maybe there won't be any saved guns here. At least some cash, like I said, for Pole Bandana. He got 3 kills in that round, but no more than that. And of course, you mentioned Alex being a good fragger for this team when he was on it. I remember, of course, when we did ESL Challenger Valencia together, he was an absolute monster when they won that event. I remember outside on Nuke, he was just literally owning everyone. Classic. But of course, they've had to move away from that era now.
Well, indeed, you know, and that was shortly after some Pius got picked up, you know, so definitely a different world. But yeah, he is a good player, you know, hoping all the best. Hoping that this kind of commitment from NIP results in a bit of a rebuild. But speaking of the rebuilds, Movistar Koi have had their own and looks pretty good.
Dangerous for Pole Bandana. It's the Jiggle Peak to throw his utility down as soon as he sees an arm. And he does manage it, but you always risk getting timinged and your head getting removed from the round. So he'll be fortunate this time. We'll keep the A site intact. But off the back of that, Koya straight back through Canal and are putting pressure on Cave.
Yeah, a little bit slower here. I think both teams understanding the importance of this one, but Movistar Koi feel like they have just about got control of the game. Much slower build-up here. Looks like it will be an A play in the end, particularly, again, as they've managed to creep a player through middle. However, just gives his life away maybe a little prematurely, just because I think his idea was to keep them on that B-bomb site, keep them entertained over here, but with no more presence, they feel that they can start the rotations. What is going on? Mopos in between. Wins an important fight and just going to hold this position that he has in towards mid. I think they know that Pole Bandana is here, but Mopos continuing to cut off rotations and cut off heads. Absolutely wonderful stuff. 2 remaining now for the CT side, and they can start to encroach on their position up here at Heaven. Not much that they can really do. You know, they have to fight their way out here, ex-ENEIDA, if they want to save, or are they going to try and go for it? The answer is no. But like I say, it's not a guaranteed thing to get these guns out.
Yeah, they were really pinned in there, and Mopos just being an absolute nuisance in camera there, flicking between 2 angles. He knows there's a Heaven player, he knows there's rotating players, and in the end he probably takes the 2 most important players, the 2 rotating through that they're coming through to try and help ex-ENEIDA in their time of need. So yeah, dirty stuff from Mopos, beautifully done. He could be able to take Kenzazor out after time as well, but no, he's that nade, even if he managed to throw it in time, he was full HP, was Kenzazor, so no risk. But Mopos certainly did his job and basically won that round for Movistar Koi. Reveling in the madness.
Absolutely. That is indeed what we're here for, and it seems this is pretty good though. It seems they're getting a hold onto ex-ENEIDA quite early on. Stadodo tries to go for a spawn-based peek though, and wow, gets ruined. Kenzazor, he had a flash in, it was ineffective, but it gave him the confidence for the peek. So 2 very big kills on the saved M4, and that's absolutely what I want to see. Classic approach to the saved weaponry. You are going to buy into the next one anyway, so why not fly in I think there are a lot of teams that just try and play it safe and, you know, let them walk into some kind of a stack, and they're going to out-utility you usually in a round where you don't have much yourself. So really nice to see the confidence, and it is paying off. This guy not missing right now, and there's Saltovsky covering his man, covering any attempt at the peak. Really clean round here from ex-ENEIDA, and obviously a very important one to take.
Yeah, Kenzizor's a bit of a gamer. He's only 18, of course. Seen quite a few instances of him playing at the top, of course, in those Face It FPL lobbies. Only 18, and I believe his rating is pretty high in the green after I checked it last night as well. He's one to watch for the future, perhaps. It was. Unfortunate. He's going to get spammed down as well when he strikes a bit closer. A bit unlucky, but that's a great round to win for ex-ENEIDA. That kill from Mopoz wouldn't have probably changed a thing anyway, so yeah, of course, winning, as I always say, winning on that half investment with a couple of pistols and those saved guns, look what it's done to their economy. They've survived with all 5 players alive, and suddenly they have a buy in arrears, even if they're all to go down here.
Timeout for Movistar Koi, and I do respect it. Comes very early on after the round itself, rather than, you know, the situation of the game, calling a timeout when it's like 10-9 or whatever. It's more after the round itself, respecting what it could become for ex-ENEIDA. So I really do like that, actually.
Yeah.
And you've got plenty of them. Game's a bit shorter now. And the T side here of Anubis as well is incredibly important, as we will mention many, many times, I'm sure. And you may well, as a viewer, be aware of that by now.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at, of course, the players on this ex-ENEIDA side, and looking at the stats and seeing how good Kenzizor has been. Of course, those were his first 3 kills of the game. But that's one way to get yourself started. With SDY, of course, not on Monty anymore. What do you think? Will there be another Ukrainian super team at some point? That's not Navi, of course. Now they're international. Been lots of thought processes and ideas. Now SDY has left Monty about where he could go, what he could do. Been some whispers of Fnatic, perhaps, but I think a Ukrainian super team would be pretty sick again. That's obviously not Monty if SDY has left now. Anyway, on to more pressing matters, and that's Paul Bandana trying to stay alive toward the back of the cake on A. He's got 3 or 4 players coming his way, and he can't even get one. He's kind of struggling a little bit. I know he's got 6 kills, but I feel like every single time he's defended toward A, it's either been a fallback and save, looking for exits, or it's been panic smoking himself off, that sort of thing, right? Desperately trying not to go down for free, and unfortunately on that round he does.
Yeah, they're maybe in their heads a little bit, but we'll see. This is a very difficult kind of few rounds for ex-ENEIDA. There's not too much that they can do, and obviously Sarkoi just looking way more comfortable on the map, which, you know, again, as I said, Anubis is one that they've not played in an official recently. There is a lower bracket here, but I think picking it into your first game is pretty risky for me. Just stick to some that you've been playing, but this is what happens, man. As mentioned, ex-ENEIDA have been playing quite a few games just today, and I think maybe there's a little bit that gets into your head about, okay, we need to stay a bit fresh, or don't want to play the same maps over and over. The veto, man. Difficult.
Yep.
And very important. And I mean, we've been seeing it in the RMRs that quite a few teams picking questionable maps, and it's costing them in BO1s and things like this. So it is a bit of an underestimated part of the game, I think, for a lot of pro players.
Spot on. Now let's see if they can compound that. Faster toward B this time, just off the back of a few flashes, to be honest. And look at that split coming in from Canal. Kenzizor's distracted. Munch goes down. Davy G taking that one, and As soon as Adam S comes through that canal position, Kenzazor's got his back turned, super distracted from the B main players. That can be so difficult for those B site anchors as well, not knowing what to look at first. And once again, ex-ENEIDA have no say. It's just a Movistar Koi opening kill or two, and they're forced just to wait and bide their time for the next round. And of course, coming toward the end of the half now, they're saving so much, their money's still really good, even though they're going to be 6-3 behind. So Movistar Koi guaranteed at least a tie on the first half of this BO3.
Yeah, starting to get a little bit out of hand, isn't it? You know, these rounds are ultimately uncompetitive, look very, very simple, and I don't think that's what ex-ENEIDA really want at this point. They need to be putting up some better numbers. They actually, you know, economy-wise, are doing very well, despite losing a couple in a row. So that just kind of paints the picture of how little resistance they've been putting up. Timeout going to be taken here. You want to make this half serviceable, and it is starting to get to that point where Movistar Koi really, really hitting their groove. It is 3 rounds indeed for ex-ENEIDA, but the rifle play has not been all that convincing thus far.
It can be tough, especially, you know, when you are one of the qualified teams, you are the underdog. Of course, we have to remind as well that the Open qualifiers, at least the you know, the knockout match for the Open qualifiers for this very close qualifier was only just yesterday. It's all very packed, of course, in the schedule. So maybe they'll be feeling warm, but also maybe Movistar Koi will have been watching with a beady eye to see who they'd be facing next. Oh, this is already very aggressive toward B. He's managed to make his way through the smoke, and he's already seen Kenzazor on the corner. That's really awkward for Kenzazor. Must be so frustrating. He's already down to low HP, and now his friend Munch has gone as well. Oh, it couldn't be worse. The nade, a little right-click nade from Just. B has been exposed these last few rounds, and Just is making them look like amateurs.
Yeah, I mean, we can laugh about it a little, but it's heartbreaking to a certain point, isn't it, for ex-ENEIDA? It's just frustrating, really. In the right spot, doing the best they can, coming close to a couple of these kills, but unable to convert them. But yeah, and, you know, Movistar Koi not really wasting any time. It's getting all too easy for them at the end of the day. This is a little bit of what we had maybe expected in this opening matchup. Saltovsky should be able to survive with the AWP, as does Burya on his AK. And they have plenty of cash thanks to numerous saves, but they need some damn rounds. You know, it's getting out of hand. Obviously, Movistar Koi moving up to 7 puts them in a nice spot, but there is real potential, not just scoreline-wise, but the way that the game has been looking for this to go to 9-3, which feels like a winnable scoreline.
Yeah, I always, you know, consider what is the minimum for a CT side, especially for an underdog on Anubis, and I think really they do need the last 2 here, ex-ENEIDA. We shall see, though. Buria's playing a little cubby, of course, in mid. He can be seen on a bit of an awkward angle, so that's why he falls off of it. Just waiting to see if someone wanders their way through a smoke. The Movistar Koi know they've used those Molotovs in mid in the right position, so they can wander forward successfully and safely. And mid will be taken again, and that, of course, once again leaves ex-ENEIDA basically just guessing, right? They don't have enough information, and that's what's catching them off guard on so many of these CT rounds so far.
We'll see here, but yeah, holding up close, will get taken down. Pole Bandana trying to do the same, man. Ooh, it looks very messy. Those are kind of the 2 areas. You know, the B bomb site seems burstable, and then mid. Their mid hold here from ex-ENEIDA has just been incredibly weak, if non-existent. You know, there's no conditioning there. There's no real presence in a lot of these rounds. And it just leaves them very vulnerable in a number of places. You know, it's like work B enough, and then they'll bolster up B, and then we can work mid, and that'll be weaker. It's very, very simple from Movistar Koi here.
Yeah. Both times they've taken mid at that sort of mid to late round after they've used that utility, the Molotovs, to clear out the close angles as well. ex-ENEIDA have not felt comfortable going in for any more information. And as you saw there, Buria was just shoulder peeking from the A site. As soon as he got the information that stadodo was there, immediately tried to smoke it. Smoke wasn't fantastic. It caught the corner of the wall, so it wasn't deep enough into camera. And that's why they both tried to play with it to their advantage in the end. But daviG knew what was up. It's all very awkward, and the quality difference is showing, I think. Even though maybe Movistar Koi, as you rightly pointed out earlier, Anubis is not one they go to a hell of a lot. But still.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect them to have a little bit of a better showing. We'll see as the sides flip over, I suppose, is the one key thing. If they can get 4 here, pick up a pistol into that next half, then maybe it gets a bit more competitive. Moving in towards a bit slower here on the Movistar Koi side of things, faking out the execute. Really, really gagging for this final round. We've only got 1 smoke left, but stadodo catches Saltovsky, and that gives them the man advantage.
Oh, what a reaction again. Kenzazor getting a bit of a lesson on this B site, and now his old mate Munch is stuck in the corner, of course, as well. They have been exposed on this position, and daviG right now is just selling the fake, making it even more awkward. While possible going down in the meantime, and Buria should get 1 here. There we go. It's 3 versus 2 for Movistar Koi, because daviG is still doing more work. stadodo missing a few shots, and that means he will go down to Buria, but they've managed to grab the bomb, of course, realise what was going on. They've escaped to the opposite site, and now last round of this half, this 2v2 retake. They've both got kits. And a side note before we get into this 2v2, look how much money they had from all those saves as well. I would have liked to see them go in for at least 1 more because of that in this half. But let's see if they can at least grab a 4th.
We'll see. daviG, open angle for him. Clean sightline towards the bomb, although brief. Smoke comes round. Now he is indeed unable to help out, but the time is so low here, Trav. Utility is decent, but they got to get a player on the bomb now, and he has to hold it. There's no way that he can get off this, and that's it. Just as easily able to take it. 9-3. And look at that. So dominant coming in from Movistar Koi. We're going to take a break, of course, for the half, but when we're back, we'll see if they can close out their opponent's map pick. Welcome back, everybody, into the second half here. Movistar Koi looking incredible, to be honest with you. ex-ENEIDA just the one dotted in rifle round there, and yeah, without the pistol, we would be calling this one over. But what with it being Anubis, we have seen some wild T-sides out of this map. This one not included, so never count them out fully. And it is their map pick. You would hope that they have a game plan to get back into the game.
We'll see. I mean, it kind of epitomised the first half as well, that final round, where you saw stadodo just randomly shoot an AWP shot through the smoke. It took the attention away of ex-ENEIDA on that 2v2 retake, and then just lined them up beautifully. And this pistol round feels like a must-win. The execute's kind of nice, the smokes are down, and Munch will get a lovely 2k opening. Adam's still here, though. He's being baited in, and he gets himself one, but not two.
We'll see on the rest of the retake if they can work their way in here. stadodo, difficult fight for him, will go down. Just has the opportunity to find a couple. However, low on ammunition, got to pull off the reload. Bomb ticking away. He knows there's got to be at least one in dark, right? But is there another? Not expecting him. And taken down up close by the P250. So here we go. Step one from ex-ENEIDA. Bit more work to be done. I would imagine Movistar Koi going to take the eco here. And then we'll see.
Is this map T-sided enough for a comeback? Let's see. I mean, of course, talking about previous results on this map, I mean, ex-ENEIDA, when they were ENEIDA, I think obviously they played Anubis a little bit more, but since they moved on from that name, it's their first showing on this map on HLTV, 0 recorded. Movistar Koi, of course, played it once in the RMR qualifiers, and they beat Para on it quite comfortably, 13-6, so there's not much to go off. Full eco for Movistar Koi there in this one, and they just put all the pistols on A, stacked together. Of course, don't forget that number 11 on the mini-map is just. Of course, the numbers can be a bit janky, as you like to call it. Since they added the coach, of course. The ability to have coaches in these qualifiers and league matches, of course. It's great to have that facility back in action again. And in the end, for Movistar Koi, he only managed to get one kill on that stack. Adam is the one to take it. ex-ENEIDA, 5-9. Only 4 behind. MR12, you always feel like there's a chance, whatever the scoreline, don't you?
No, this is true. This is true. Especially if Movistar Koi can't deliver here, we start to maybe question a little bit and go, oh, okay, maybe it is all about the T side. So we'll see. Scaling into a pretty important round here then, as I set it up. There is a pretty comfortable buy from Movistar Koi. It's certainly not the best, but definitely should be able to work with this here. A lot of early damage off the back of the nades. Always good for the T side if they can play around that. Ooh. However, it is returned. That one's pretty chunky. Yeah,
because that jump throw nade through the window of the A site there, through the arches, is very, very common early round, but when it doesn't come early round, you kind of think you're safe. That's why it's kind of the meta has been changing slightly to throw that a little bit later in the early round, if you get what I mean. And it does catch S4 there. Full 50 damage nades.
Much slower approach here from ex-ENEIDA. Movistar Koi, certainly I think the earlier rounds were a bit more sending the feelers out there, getting some info on how the CT side shaped up. But once they got into it, much faster. We'll see if that's going to be the case for ex-ENEIDA. This, however, was very much the trend when I caught them yesterday. They like the, 2017, 2018 Navi, as we like to call it. Winding that clock down, going for a late execute. Movistar Koi, though, as you can see, set up pretty nicely to deal with this, and it is minimal utility. A couple of smokes is all they can hope for. Just, however, gets the short end of the stick there, and now Adam is all by himself, completely by himself. He does manage to find the head of one, but there's fights going on all over. And as said, that's the way that ex-ENEIDA like to play it. Wind that clock down, burst forwards, and just take a bunch of fights against people who have so much sensory overload coming in. You know, you've got a guy you can see, a guy stepping behind you, there's nades flying in. You know, it's just a lot to concentrate on. They starve you of the information and then overwhelm you with it in the final few moments.
Yeah. This is something that maybe could show up Movistar Koi. Who knows if they're going to have a CT side that is going to be enough. I'm not sure that Mopoz will be able to save here. Actually, he's doing a fantastic job. You know what? I really thought, even though Munch was low HP, I thought Mopoz wasn't going to continue to check that right side. And he's actually going to get away with his M4. 3 kills on the save. All exit frags. I'll be quite delighted with that, to limit ex-ENEIDA to just 1 player alive. Of course, since the pistol, they've built up their economy to a decent level. But of course, to afford the AWP back on Soltovsky, he's now down to a big fat 0.
All right, let's see here. Early utility, you're raining on in. And a bit faster this time around from ex-ENEIDA, at least in terms of that initial move. But we shall see here. Mopoz looking to get into the action. Might just get some. Or a brief battle in middle, but it doesn't really result in too much.
Ouch. Justice tried to play close to that main smoke a couple of these last 2 rounds, and he hasn't really got much luck with it. Previous one, he walked through the corner of it into 3 players. This one, he gets removed by the UMP. Don't see many UMPs these days, but Kenzor's making it look good. Mopoz directly underneath him, though. That's going to be a freebie. He kind of was, I was going to say selling the fake, but it is a sort of a double pump. They're just going to wait behind the pillars. But I think waiting in this instance just gives Movistar Koi more time to rotate, more time to reposition and maybe catch these T-sided players on those angles. Mopoz doing a great job again. This time it's 2 kills in the main portion of the round, not just on the exit. So ex-ENEIDA are going to leave straight back toward B. 2 P250s are here, and Daviji's got himself 1, and he's digged another. That should be more than enough here, you would think.
Unbelievable. Mopoz getting involved in the action again, finding himself a 4K. Great round in from him, but yeah, disastrous really for ex-ENEIDA, isn't it? The fight coming to them is something that they really, really do seem to struggle with. And again, interestingly enough, not something that I think has tested them massively. Movistar Koi, though, they love getting aggressive on the CT side. I'd say it's definitely their favorite side of the game for a lot of these players. We talk about Alex. I think it's a little bit of the legacy that he left behind. He was mega confident on the CT end. Yeah. And it's definitely not something that is missing from the Spanish-speaking lineup, at the very least. A mix of nationalities, but indeed still communicating in Spanish.
Yeah. That's often a very popular question, right? Like, do they communicate in English or in Spanish? Seeing that Adam S, of course, is Romanian, but Adam S has been around those Spanish teams in his entire career. I think dating back to that famous one called Iberian Family, where a lot of the Movistar players originated, of course. He has spent his time in Nexus, so you know, I'm sure he speaks Romanian too, but he is a Spanish speaker. And of course, Stadodo and Just can too. Oh, that's nice from Stadodo. Even though it's against the pistols, going a little bit more aggressive with the AWP, showing some presence. That's what you want to see from your AWPer, whatever the round.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Especially from Stadodo, I think someone that has really struggled with his confident play over the years. Yeah, a name that's been watched for a long time, particularly when he was on SAW, as being a real scary prospect, and then they'd have a peak and it would fall off, and then they'd have a peak again and it would fall off. And I think that in certain matchups he just plays the super high percentage play, which can work, but sometimes not so much. Maybe in this one, that was the move though. Just try and hide away. He's going to lose his head. And that AWP might not be a recoverable. Round itself still looks decent. Oh, they were after it, weren't they? scrambling to get the AWP. Denied away by Adam at the very least. Still, though, Eagles looking good. What is going on? Oh, my God. Burya is on an absolute tear right now. I don't think it's quite going to be enough, but he has done so much damage and certainly given them a new lease on life after this round. Absolute insanity. Just a bit of support from somebody else could have made all the difference.
Bless S4 there, hiding in a smoke with the Glock, trying to do his best to give Burya what would have been a justified round win. 3 1-digs, 2 of them over the top of those smokes as well. Hard shots to hit. Lovely. And we all saw it from the death POV as well, so we kind of saw how ridiculous they were. S4 in the end getting unceremoniously just tapped in the smoke by Davig, making doubly sure there's no player inside it. And he did the right thing. So near, but yet so far for ex-ENEIDA on what would have been a really important round as well on the low buy. But now Movistar Koya just 2 away from the opening map.
Nice pick up from Kenzazor here, though. They're back with a bit of a vengeance.
Ooh.
You reckon my man's got jump on mouse wheel? He did it twice there. Yeah, first time it was okay. Second time it kind of cost him. I reckon he might do a little bit shaky on the fights. 4 on 3 in favour of Movistar Koi.
Mouse wheel jumpers, don't get me started. Moppos in the smoke in mid. This going to be interesting. Burya caught on the angle, and Burya will be saying to Soltovsky, "Have you let me die, mate?" That's unfortunate. Stadodo now is repositioned in mid too, making him all the more unpredictable. Second kill on this round after that Deagle coming up first. Now S4 will try and duel him, and Stadodo's being an absolute nuisance right now. He's feeling it. Confidence with that Deagle, just charging around the doors, ring around the rosy, goes in his favour. And Movistar Koi have double the score of ex-ENEIDA and plenty of map points to work with to get off to a great start in this opening BO3 in the Melbourne qualifiers.
Alrighty. Movistar Koi in prime position then. Looking good for them indeed. We did say it was going to be a tough one here for ex-ENEIDA. Very much struggling to get themselves off the ground. A decent enough start into this T-side, but, you know, a couple of slipped rounds, I think it is safe to say. Without the pistol, it would indeed be over already. And Adam S wanting to make sure that it's over now. A little later than maybe they had scheduled, but still pretty quick indeed. Nice opener for him.
More aggression toward A as well. It's been Stadodo, it's been Just, this time it's Adam. Very successful there with their little setups. The Just and Stadodo setup, which was a little bit messy, but still worked out okay, is a very popular one. I think Zontix and some of the other Spirit players have made that pretty famous with how well they hold A, how well those boys play Anubis. And now for Movistar Koi, they've got a 5 versus 4. Let's see if they can close it out here and now. Munch will make his way down. He is going now to join with the rest of his team. Soltovsky's got the bomb on his back, but only 3 HP, so he has to be very careful. But all 4 of them are grouped up here. Let's see what they can do.
Just on the corner. Letting them cross ultimately. Oh my goodness, goes wildly forward, so does have to be careful here. Bomb plant coming around, wins out his fight, losing a teammate in the process though, and indeed, just out in the open like that makes for an easy pickup. It's all down to Stadodo all of a sudden, and he's quite late to the party. The HP's not really going to matter here. I don't think that he will know the low life of Saltovsky. He's waiting, though. Burya might just make a mistake. Not going to happen. Whoa, takes the player out in the open onto the Deagle. Got it the wrong way round. Needed the AWP for the second guy and the Deagle for the first guy. All the same, not going to be able to get it done in the 2v1. And ex-ENEIDA stay alive.
Yeah. That was unfortunate for Stadodo. Obviously, one of those previous rounds, getting a couple of double deegs. His body spam's working out well for him. He's very confident to swing and just hit an instant headshot, but not this time. And of course, there have been so many close rounds in this game that Movistar Koi, they've lost one, and they're already almost broken economically. 2 MP9s in this round, so you kind of hope they want to close it here. But Kenzizor dropping into Canal. ex-ENEIDA turning up the pace, but hang on, Davy still here. He gets 2 in cave, recovers it into a 3v3. But the bomb can go down for the T side.
All right, curious to see here if Movistar Koi actually even want to go for the retake. You know, yes, it's a 3 versus 3, but the vast majority of the boys, yeah, they're coming from the same sort of angle. They're a bit far away. Their options in terms of the attack are pretty limited, so they will indeed just try their best to hold on to what they have. Taking a few cheeky fights on the way out, but ultimately,
Yep.
not going to happen for them. So ex-ENEIDA buying themselves a fair amount of time and looking good headed into map 2, but still a fair bit of work to be done here, and obviously no room for mistakes.
Yeah, it's a weird situation now for Movistar Koi. You know, 12-6 up, it just feels really, really comfortable, right? But one round loss, followed by another, with ex-ENEIDA turning up the pace, suddenly puts their economy in no man's land. And the gap is just 4. It should be, unless Davy G or Adam S does something special with the M4s, be 3. And we saw what Mopoz could do with that saved M4 earlier on in this half. Anything similar happens here, then it'll be a bit of a nightmare for ex-ENEIDA, but we'll see. There's a glimmer of hope here for the Ukrainians.
Yes, it is there. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a question of whether it is stepping into the light or indeed a hopeful light. All the same, these rounds have actually gone quite well for Movistar Koi in the past. So we do have to watch out on the ex-ENEIDA side of things. They were ready for a bit of a push play coming round. Quick 2-piece and an open B bomb site comes off the back of it.
Yeah, and you'd think Adam will be pretty set in saving his M4 again, of course, because if he does, I'll give Movistar Koi that extra utility, extra cash to buy up that utility they need in the next round, of course. Stadodo can look for something, and maybe even Just can look for something as well. Try and get some bonus cash with the MP9. But they're just stock solid right now. Not giving ex-ENEIDA anything at all. And I don't blame them. Surprised that Stadodo isn't going looking for a cheeky USP tap, at least to give him some bonus cash. But, you know, he's got nothing to lose. But, you know, his KD is 11 to 11, so may as well keep it even.
Yeah, that's it, man. He's got the stats to lose, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all either even or positive. Actually quite unusual to see 2 players make that 3, actually. 11-11 and 10-10. And the right time for a tactical timeout as well, for sure.
Yeah, not getting away from you too much. Still got a couple of rounds to play with, but, you know, in terms of actual full buys, particularly for a CT side, might not be the best. You know, your life cycle here is getting a little short, so it does make sense. Not super panic stations just yet, but you want to remain cool. We're all on the side of Movistar Koi closing this one out, right? There's going to be a few hopeful fans out there, I'm sure, but it feels like the conversion should still come here. It's just ex-ENEIDA. A couple of nice rounds from them, but ultimately breaking the bank at the perfect moment to make life difficult for Movistar Koi. Now they're back with a clean buy. They are lacking an AWP. A lot of utility, that's the key thing on Anubis, particularly for the early round here. Very, very important to lay down the utility.
Let's see. Of course, no AWP in play, no cash for that. Just will keep his MP9, so he has some residual cash available, but that's not what Movistar Koi will be thinking of. They'll be wanting to get it done here and now. From 12-6 to 12-9. ex-ENEIDA working their way back in slowly but surely. But one mistake could render all that hard work pointless. You mentioned the slow plays. It is very of type of these sorts of teams. And it's keeping Movistar Koi guessing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. 45 seconds. They're all grouped top outside B. They're probably going to prepare a mass execute. Can Mopoz survive this one? He's got Incendiary drawn. It needs to be thrown down on a good timing, and those smokes being deployed actually might work with that Incendiary to give them a little bit extra time. A boost. Very dangerous kind of mid-round here, but stadodo's here stepping up. Missed shots from Mopoz, but he still gets one, and Anubis is in cave. It's looking safer and safer for Movistar Koi. Buria answering back. Very, very low HP on both, though. And this shouldn't mean it's anything doing for Buria. Just will remove it quickly. And there we go for Movistar Koi. It was a little bit squeaky, but in the end, was comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly was, you know, if they'd kept it going on that ex-ENEIDA side of things. But ultimately, I think Movistar had a little bit in the locker, a little bit in the back pocket, you know, some secret kind of moves. And yeah, wacky call, like you say, the boost up in the middle.